Hey everybody, it's Uncle Dave. This week I'm going to talk about frames. I didn't make any frames for this episode because I've made so many frames over the years. When I was in nursing school, I made over 100 frames. I got them, I sanded them, I painted them, all kinds of crazy stuff. So I'm uniquely qualified to talk about how frames work and how great they can be.
Well, Uncle Dave decided to grow up and get a job, and so because of that, he had to do some N95 testing, which is putting a special respirator on his face. Yeah, it's disturbing to see myself like this. I haven't seen myself with no beard for 20 years, and I look both older and younger at the same time, and now I look like someone's escaped youth pastor. That's upsetting.
So, first off, I just want to let you know that you can just buy a frame. I know this is a craft channel, a DIY channel, but if you can find something that resonates with you, that comes out of a package, girl, do that. So here I have an example of my little dog, who unfortunately has passed away to glory, but this is a picture of her that I put in this plastic photo frame. It was $3 at the At Home. It's a weird shape and has a little bit of height that you don't get with 4x6 photos sometimes. I like it just fine, and it sits in this white frame. You know, I have these green pants that I probably bought 5 years ago. I keep holding on to them because I think, oh, I'm gonna get skin enough to get in them green pants, and they're crazy. They're like a bright green color, like pants that nobody else would wear except me. So it's like I gotta hold on to these pants so I can get in them. Anyway, I told you that crazy story to tell you this. This is a lot of ways how we do our homes as well. We move into a place and it's like, well, I'm just renting, so I don't really want to do a lot of stuff to the walls that I'm gonna have to redo later. And then you've rented for 2 years and you've sit in this apartment that you did not like the whole time. And then you have this idea, oh, well, it'll get better when I get a house that I can afford, and I'll just buy a house and then I'll do projects on my house. But then you bought a house and that costs a lot of money, and a lot of times you don't have money to do projects on your house after you just bought a house. We end up limiting ourselves and living in these like white and beige boxes and gray boxes, and it really doesn't have to be that way. This is a picture of me and my mom. She has also passed on to glory, and she has these white picture frames that I think I got from Amazon, and there were just a peppering of white frames in among all of the purple things that I laid out for her memorial. So the white frames worked out fine, and I've kept them just how they are, and I quite like them. I really feel like your home should be a reflection of yourself. That's why there's purple and there's white and there's yellow. There's my mom and there's me. There's my dog and my other dog and my husband and the things that I love. And so when you walk into a house and you see people's walls or shelves decorated in a way, that says something about them. It says that the things that I've chosen to display are important to me. Another thing you can do is I'm a thrifter and I thrift frames. This is a frame that I have thrifted. I've kept it, other than changing the picture out of it here, I've kept it exactly as it is. 8x10, something like that. It's an 8x frame with a big old chunky frame, probably from like the 80s. It almost looks like it has a little frame on frame action. But from the backside it isn't, but it's a beautiful frame, and it's just as the day I bought it, and it does have a little bit of wear marks on it, and I think that adds to its character. The other thing is you can take a regular frame and kind of zhuzh it up with some products. So the first product, this isn't a frame obviously, but this is spray paint, and I spray painted bunches and bunches of frames over the years. But you can spray paint with a gold color like this, which I love to do. Or you can take another picture like this. And this is just a picture of my husband before we met. And I have taken this yellow paint and redone that. Now it looks like I also decided to put this one upside down. So I guess I liked the way that looked at the time. Now the thing about a gallery wall is it's lots of different small pieces that make up a larger artwork, basically. The nice thing about a wall like this though is it's not something that you just decorate once. It's something that you decorate and then it lives a life of its own, which is kind of weird and creepy and interesting in this sort of way. It's a curated patch of photos that over the years is going to pull other things into it. You're curating the room to be what you want it to be, but then it also kind of takes on this level of being whatever it is anyway, which I kind of love. Poly Shades is a stain that you can stain on top of stain, if you can say that 5 times fast. Basically what it does is it takes these old wooden frames. These were super popular in the 80s and 90s. They're harder to find now, but you can find them in secondhand stores and flea markets and things like that, usually for about $1. And they usually come in something that's about this condition. And you can take poly shades and put them over several different ones and kind of get the same quote unquote undertone if you do that. So here you can see on the back side, these were obviously very different when we started. And now they're still different, but they have kind of like that undertone of that dark red wood color that we're going for with the mahogany. And I like to do this with lots of different materials. These look like they're dang near twins at this point. Definitely cousins. And then this is just a different style of frame altogether, but she got that same treatment and she'll be going on our wall. This is painted with spray paint. As you can see, it's still white on the back, but the purple just gives it a little something. That was also my mom's favorite color. I also like how it contrasts with this teal color that she's wearing. I just got these directly off the thing, so some of them need to be dusted. Cheap really isn't the goal here. The goal is to find the things that resonate with you. This is a frame that costed very little money. Me making it purple made it more me, and it made it more to do with the subject matter in the photo. It's hard to explain for someone who isn't emotionally connected with this image and this frame how important that is, but it makes a difference to me. And I think putting it in the space and showing that space off in some like third, fourth hand tangentially related way, it gives the space its own feeling. Some of that kind of conveys in a real woo-woo kind of way. It's not only sustainable, but it's unique to you and your vision for your space. Another thing that you can do is you can take some rub and buff. This is homemade rub and buff that I made with some finishing wax. And you can rub that on there, wait 24 hours, buff it out, and it becomes sort of a, you know, like a spooky, okay, like if this is daytime, this is nighttime, if that makes any sense. Like definitely get a different type of shine, but it's still beautiful and rich. This is some purple chalk paint that I made by mixing some purple and pink together. And this frame is fine to use just as it is. You just put the chalk paint on there. Now what I would like to tell you though is that chalk paint does like to mar. And a lot of times when you're doing like shabby chic and things like that, this is the kind of paint that you use, not necessarily this color, but this type. And so it will scuff up pretty easily. So the way to get around that is you can put on some finishing wax. You can put on a coat of polyurethane. You can put on a coat of clear spray paint, just anything to kind of protect it. However, this is going to be hanging on the wall. So what are the chances that this is actually going to be getting a lot of, you know, hands on it and things like that? It's probably relatively low. So I think if you just hung this on the wall like this, it would probably also be fine. And also you can get that nice matte color that you're looking for. I still think the best way to get ideas is Pinterest. It does a lot of mixing and matching of different types of styles that you might not have thought to do yourself. The problem with Pinterest is it's an algorithm though, so it's going to show you what you like over and over and over again. And that makes it hard for you to experience what you don't like. Now when you go out into the world, especially into these thrift stores, a lot of times people are super creative in a way that you may not have thought to do it before. I picked this one up recently. It is exactly what it looks like. It's a frame which was kind of ornate inside of a different frame which was kind of not. And then they have this chippy paint on here. Well, what I did was I put a color like this gold color here. I put that on there. And then I put this poly shades that I was talking about. I just put it on there with a dry brush technique and then wiped it off. And it has made this beautiful layered effect. And of course, I put this picture of the Kraken in there, which I thought was pretty cool. The last thing I want to tell you about is anything that has a frame around it can be a frame. Now, as you can see, this is a tray. But basically, original frames were, you know, some piece of board with some border around it, and then they painted inside. So if you were going to paint your own thing, this would be wonderful. You could also take some decoupage or like Mod Podge. Just kind of lay that out, put your picture over it, paint back over it. So trays can definitely be good frames. This right here is something else that can be a good frame. It is just a mirror. I've taken the mirror out of it, and now it could be a mirror again. I could put the mirror back now that I have given the frame itself a bit of a facelift. Or I can put a different type of photo in there, which would be like a different size. That would be very eye-catching. Most people won't have anything like that because it's a lot of trouble to go through. If you take something and put it on the wall, it puts it in a place of prominence. And I think that the frame itself breaks up the colors and textures of the wall and kind of announces, hey, something beautiful is coming.